on this computer. Go live, and then let me go back over here. Yeah,
Morecambe. Morecambe.
Morecam.
Morecam. I don't know.
The British love to just randomly put letters in that they have no intention of. I mean, look at how they pronounce Worcester. I mean, give me a break. And Worcestershire sauce. I mean,
Worcestershire.
What was even the point of that?
I don't know. Alexa, volume 2.
So sometimes you don't even know how to take these, folks. The Evan and Aaron show is live now.
Yeah, wait. Oh, yes, we are. We are live.
Well,
yes, we
folks, welcome to another edition, the second of the 2021 season, if you will.
Damn.
And thank you for joining us on a Thursday night. Had a little conflict to address this week, and I got in at about 3:00 in the morning last night, Indiana time. So if I'm moving a little slow, that's on me. But thank you all for joining us. It's the Evan and Aaron show. I'm Aaron. This is my buddy Evan. Evan, in the last week, when you think 2020 has really just, either raised or lowered the bar, depending on how you look at it, for just sort of crazy, newsworthy nonsense. This makes me have some sympathy for like major network news, because do you lead with, the insurrection? Do you lead with the fact that Trump and a lot of Republicans openly called for it? Do you lead with the news that now it seems perhaps there was help from the inside? Do you lead with the news that perhaps they were told to have, federal guard or National Guard troops were told to stand down, or not necessarily stand down, rather just never given an order?
Right.
Where do we even begin to look at this, Evan? I mean, what to you tops it? Where do you want to start? We can go, because we're going to go everywhere. Where do you want to start?
Oh yeah, we're going to go everywhere. But I think the thing that tops it for me is, we still have an unstable individual in the highest office in our land.
Mm-hmm.
We are a week out from Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, several other prominent Republicans, Liz Cheney, those guys, all of them, a lot of them saying this was his fault.
Yeah.
This was reckless. This was just totally his fault. And now we have people fading into black, basically. Fading into black. And
Homer into the bush.
Exactly. Homering into the bush and saying, see, what had happened was, whenever I said that, I meant this. And so it was never a point for us to take a look and see these folks who are standing up, who are saying, oh, well, I think he did this and blah, blah, blah. It was never a point of, I think yours and I think everybody that's watching, I don't think there was a point where we sat back and said, finally, good, the Republicans are with us. No. We know better. We know better. And I think we have to start there, man. I think we got to start there. Talk to me about like you see the hypocrisy, you see the maddening nature of all this. And I think we hit on it last week whenever we said, don't try and make sense of this. don't try and make sense of it. Just don't. This is crazy area right there, man. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, because I'm a fairly rational human being who can use my eyes and ears and can discern things in front of me and don't need it spoon-fed to me in order to make me feel good about my worldview. The president asked these people to show up. My ability to watch news, I've listened to a lot of news over the last 24 to 48 hours. but context, has been a little adrift because of that. But I know that these events were planned. I know that the president told everybody to show up on January 6th. And now you've got, the bull shaman guy, saying, we showed up
Chewbacca
because
bikini guy.
Pence asked us, or not Pence, I'm sorry. Trump asked us to come. He said, patriots, come to this event. So they showed up because he asked them to do so.
Mm-hmm.
They made plan, and we're going to get to the plans here in a little bit, but they made plans. Like, this wasn't we're showing up to a rally. They had planned a certain number of them. I don't know how many. And this again is, much like the police brutality question is, look, I don't know exactly how many people showed up on the mall. I don't know how many people showed up to protest and speak their mind. Mm-hmm. But I know an X percentage specifically showed up to storm the Capitol, not just protest, not just to go to a rally. They showed up specifically. So I look at that and I'm speculating, were there 30,000 people there? If there,
I mean, supposedly is around that number.
And the reason I'm doing this is it's going to be difficult to not go on a lot of tangents, but in the wake of this, a lot of people were like, well, where was your outrage during the Black Lives Matter and everything that went on with that? And
I want to talk about that later too.
Yeah, but there were X amount of people who showed up at the protests. Mm-hmm. I cannot speculate as to the number of people who showed up specifically hoping to take advantage of it. But I think that number was actually pretty low. In fact, I think that was more of a spontaneous decision of, hey, me and my boys are a little jacked up now. We're kind of pissed off about this too, but I'm just pissed off about life in general. So I'm going to go throw some bricks through stores downtown Indianapolis. And unfortunately, that encourages some other people to pick up a brick and do things. Sure. But no aspect of any Black Lives Matter organizing involved this is eventually going to turn violent. It was specifically not in this almost hostage video take of please don't resort to violence. I oppose violence. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I heard over and over again this peaceful march, and any violence that occurred is on the shoulders of those individual people who chose to do so. This event was, if not intended to end this way, hoped to end this way by its organizers. And it's going to take a long time, because there's tons of speculation, and I'm trying to keep my emotions in check. But when you're
trying to keep your emotions in check on this show?
Well, from the standpoint of, I want to make sure anytime I'm taking a strong stance about something that I have the most complete information I have available to me. Mm-hmm. Because
I get it.
I know for a fact that these people showed up with the intent to do damage. I'm not going to suggest it's all of them. And again, without having any numbers, it's all in the ether. But a very specific group of people showed up not to just protest, but to storm the Capitol. We now have video footage, and I hope everybody gets my jokes sometimes when I'm naming the show, because the title of this episode is "The Insurrection Will Be Televised or Live Streamed." And if you don't understand that play on words, the man's name is Jill Scott, and you should check it out. But we know so much about this event because the dumbest people ever decided to take selfies during an insurrection, during a Capitol offense. These are felony charges, and they're just taking pictures. And you know who should have known better is the two cops. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put on a MAGA hat and direct traffic, and this other guy's going to take selfies. I've done dumb shit, but usually it involved a handle of Captain Morgan, me being less than 25 years old, and attractive women encouraging me to do dumb shit. So you know
Man,
what?
why didn't we hang out when I was younger, dude? Come on now.
If Shaman Guy did this to impress a girl, I at least maybe have a little sympathy for him. He's got great teeth. The guy's seriously.
Well, apparently he's a vegan. He's a vegan.
I don't know that he's vegan. He just wanted organic food.
Oh, okay.
That was his thing.
My bad. Fake news.
My response to that, well, you know what? There's so much coming out, and it's easy to play the telephone game with this, right? You hear a little bit of news, and you're like, oh my God, I got to pass this on, and then it becomes something slightly different, and that's what I'm talking about when I'm like, I want to keep my emotions in check, because look, my emotions are outraged at the fact that this not only did it happen, but it's happening with a shrug of the shoulders from a lot of Republicans. And it seems like there's accusations that, during this time period, tours of the Capitol are off. It's COVID time. We just can't have extra people in a building.
Yep.
And the day before, there are rumors that congresspersons and certain staffers were opening the doors and giving guided tours to people, and those people, it seems, showed up the next day. And when you
oh my God, yes,
when you watch the video, a couple different videos, these people knew where they were going inside the Capitol building. So either over the last couple of months, they figured out how to visit the Capitol building and map it out, or they took really good notes on the day before. I hesitate to say this stuff because it's being investigated. It's not fully corroborated. There is video, but it's still just people saying, well, yeah, these are folks that showed up the next day. I don't know that, but I do know that I watch a video with my own eyes that these dumbasses live stream themselves, where they're saying, hey, don't go through that door. What you want to do is cut this out right here and drop through to the floor below. And I mean, these people were well prepared. It's a former police officer that had, they refer to them as zip ties, but those were full on cuffs. Those are, if not police issued, police regulation,
police grade
cuffs, for quick mass events where, you're, okay, all the vegans have decided to storm the World Health Organization building. So we're going to, and they, so we know we're going to arrest 170 people today because that's what they want. So those are used. That guy's a retired police officer. I mean, they're just, this is a problem, man. I have a million thoughts in my head right now because there are so many things to talk about, and I don't know which one's the most important. Is it important to talk about the fact that there was some dude wearing a Carmel Rugby Club sweatshirt there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, there were 100 Hoosiers who went to the Capitol.
Where do we rank the fact that a black police officer gave an account of his experience of the day, and he said that he was called the N-word more than 15 times that day?
Oh yeah.
And that as he was trying to disperse the crowd or move people about, several people showed him their badges and said, "Nah, man, we're on your side." So cops from around the country. I mean, I'm Evan, I'm all over the place, and
I got you.
That it's so difficult. But that's the beauty of the show, is we're just talking about it.
I know, man. Hey, let me do this. Let me throw this out there, because my issue with what's that?
Who's just Kiara and Michael?
Oh, excellent. Hey, yeah, my family's watching. Excellent. As long as my granddaughter doesn't, because at the end of the show, the "Hey Aaron" segment is R-rated. So
how old's your granddaughter?
She is. You put me right on the spot, didn't you? You like doing that. 7 months.
And you think show's gonna remember the "Hey Aaron"?
It's COVID, man. It's COVID, bro. I'm like,
also
one day. Also, should be like, you're the worst pop ever. You're the worst pop ever.
Look, man, we've already seen how kids retain shit. So especially during COVID, we're gonna find out that like from like the second they're out of the womb, they're like, I'm taking notes.
So okay. So interesting. You should say this, because one of the things that shocked me, now that I've had a week to kind of figure this stuff out. One of the things that shocked me, and I can't quite wrap my head around. I get that. I get there are black people who are Republicans. I totally get it. I understand. I were one. Okay, I really was. I was. But blacks for Trump?
What I love about that picture is, have you noticed there's not a black person in the picture? It's a bunch of white dudes holding a blacks for Trump sign. If it's the same one that I'm seeing, which is effing hysterical to me. That it's like,
I didn't see that, but I didn't see that one. I'd love to see that. But here's where I'm getting at. I'm like, we have 7.5 months. I was right. I was kind of right. Close to right. Very close to right. Anyway.
You should be less excited about getting it close, man.
Hey.
When's Michelle's birthday?
What are you doing right now? What are you doing right now? It's All Saints Day, brother. Boondock Saints, number 2, All Saints Day. So there you go.
I love this.
So let's move on.
Saints.
Am I blushing?
I want to touch on something.
Oh,
I want to touch on something. Well, you're
okay. I want to go back to the black.
Your light-skinned ass can blush.
I know.
I think you can get a sunburn.
I'm gonna tell you something after you're done because it's hilarious.
Okay, I do want to touch on one quote from Gia. I feel like the average MAGA person felt they had quote unquote permission with Trump and Republicans. I think that's why they were so brazen about it. I've seen it referred to as the height of white privilege. And then I saw another person that I don't know how they got in my feed on Twitter, but she said, no, that's not white privilege. That's white power. That's white supremacy. White privilege. White privilege is walking away, but believing that you can storm the Capitol. And you know what? That is not an argument for me to split hairs. And that's why I said when you were like, oh, my bad. I was like, no, I'm just kind of sharing something because to me, it's beautiful. It's an interesting perspective. And, that gets into, parsing language in such a very unique way. And it's not for me as a white person to decide whether or not one of those terms is better than the other. I just think it's a persuasive and interesting argument. But what I will say is that's exactly what Gia's comment is that these people live streamed it and took selfies because they thought, I'm going to get away with this.
I'm telling you, man, this is something I say, and I mean this in all.
And apparently I'm supposed to say purple monkey dishwasher.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I say this with all hilarity. Okay. So this is something I say to Michelle all the time. I'm like, white folk are so inquisitive, man. I mean, y'all are the most inquisitive folk on the planet. Y'all, seriously, I'm not kidding. Like if there is if there's a bear over there, like white folk would be like, man, let's go check it out. Black folk like, I'm not going to check out the bear. Now, this is not all. This is just what I've observed. And this is the same type of sentiment that people go into the Capitol with. Like, look at me, I'm a white person. And I know that this place is mine. When you think about that mentality, okay, first of all, notice I'm talking about mentality. I'm not trying to stereotype and label white folks, okay? I love white folks.
I have a point I want to follow up on.
But you think about that mentality. That mentality is the same manifest destiny mentality that was laid in the foundations of America from day one. And you cannot tell me, and I will continue to trumpet this until the American people get this. You cannot tell me there is not inherent racism built into the fabric of this country when you have people in 2021 thinking that they own this piece.
And they said
they said it. And they said it. They said it. I mean, the girl that got maced when she came out, she was the one. She was the one. She was like, they said, well, why were you storming? It's like, this is a freaking revolution. And I'm like, see, there it is. Yeah, that's the mindset.
You still got to buy the ticket and take the ride, though. I mean, they give tours. Yes. Right. I mean, this is where words matter. this is also kind of where I go back and forth on white privilege, and not as white privilege exists.
Right.
But then I started thinking about what should qualify as white privilege, because there are certain things that, and of course my mind's going to go blank and I'm not going to give very good examples here, but hey Taylor, I view white privilege as white people expect to get away with something that if you just close your eyes in general, most people will get in trouble for, versus white people get to do something that I think everybody in general should be able to do. In this context,
that's because you actually rationally think it out.
But in this context, like, no rational person should think that they have the right to enter that building while Congress is performing perhaps their most sacred duty, right? So like, it is. It absolutely is. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm saying, when I try to wrap my brain about how this term should be utilized and what it should encompass, I'm like, well, that's just dumbass shit. Like, no human being should think they would have the right to do this. So when white people think so, I'm like, it's the height of obtuseness. That's where it kind of enters the realm of white supremacy and white power. Like, this is an act of white power. Like, white privilege is, I'm just going to walk away from this cop and expect to not get arrested. There's a part of me that's like, man, most people should be allowed to do that. If you didn't do anything and you're just walking away, just walk the fuck away from the cop. That's white privilege. But white power and white supremacy. So I got that. I guess I'm saying this is me talking in real time, trying to work through the semantics of what this person did, right?
Absolutely. And you're doing it, man, because here's the difference. White supremacy was on full display for people to see. And it wasn't stopped.
Yeah.
Black power was on full display in the 1970s in California, and we got the Mulford Act.
Yeah.
Taking away guns from everybody because a few black people showed up to the California State House demanding rights. That is the difference. That's the stark difference. And this is the dissonance that's happening in this country. And I'm noticing this more and more because, ladies and gentlemen, I have a confession to make. I was in the jail cell next to Donald Trump whenever it comes to Facebook. Aaron, I disappointed you. I'm sorry, my friend. I did not keep my cool. I did not keep my cool last week.
You disappointed Michelle. You disappointed, and not your Michelle. Not your.
Oh yeah, I did. Yes, you're right. You
called me on
it. You called me on it, man. And
she is the queen. There's Michelle. There's Michelle, and there's Beyonce. But there's Michelle. Ooh. Michelle's the queen.
Yes. I get it. But in saying all that, you see people whenever you start to use logic, because what I figured out is this, man, is that you just can't use logic. You cannot use logic with people. There's this perfect TikTok from this young lady, and I wish I could show you, but I don't have TikTok. I wish I could find it. It was sent to me.
You don't want TikTok.
Okay, man, because God, China. There you go. Anyway,
China.
She said it perfectly. She was like, "Look, if I say to somebody who's a Trumpster, if I call them an ignorant asshole, you're going to sit there and you're going to say, 'Oh, isn't that mean?'" And she goes, "Yeah, it is." And question? Because fact is, you cannot reason with people unless they're wanting to have civil discourse. These folks that showed up at our nation's capital, they don't want civil discourse, man. They don't. They want civil disobedience. That's exactly what they want. And that's what they did. And once again, dude, don't try and figure it out. Don't try and reason about it.
It's like the movie Tenet. Don't try to make it make sense.
No, don't try to make it make sense. So, my friend, we are at halftime.
We are.
We are at halftime. Or did you have something else to say? Go.
Lord only knows. I've got more to say.
I got called. I just got called out by Gia. Oh, see what had happened. I'm just gonna. That's my standard answer. What had happened was exactly. Go ahead, my friend.
It is halftime, and the last few weeks I've not really had much to go on, but I do want to say this week we moved the show because a friend of ours and Mrs. Aaron passed away. It was a good close friend. Amy met this gentleman while she was in college, but he was there kind of just he's a little bit older, he's an artist, and just a guy in Bloomington that she met and became lifelong friends with, really in a way soulmates that you become with friends. And through Amy, I got to know him, and he was in our wedding. If you ever see our wedding photos, he's the big fella, just an absolute wonderful person. One of those people that within meeting this person, you'd be having you'd be like, holy shit, is this like therapy? I'm having a super deep conversation with this guy. And maybe it wasn't even, like therapy. Maybe it was more of a, oh my God, all of a sudden I'm having this super deep conversation about how art influences our ability to learn or some shit like that. I mean, this guy was really, really incredibly just a great soul. And that's who we were out honoring, and that's why we moved the show a day. And I've thought about just all these great experiences I got to have with him, and to hear people who knew him at a different time in his life and hear that their experiences were similar but different. That just this person touched them, and you couldn't help but just kind of get caught up in his orbit and his energy. So that's my shout out this week. Kenyon Lee Madden, you will be sorely missed, and we love you dearly.
Kenyon. Slancha. Oh, man. So I want to show you real quick. I just got this picture. That is one of my daughter's boyfriend on the ground.
That's
reading a book about robotics, to my other daughter's little girl. And guess who bought the book about robotics?
Your dad.
Pop, baby. Pop, man, come on now. She's my little retirement plan. I'm gonna need her to go to NASA and join some stuff and just say, hey, Pop.
I tell you what, hop on good friend of the pod's Facebook page, Steph and Sam, and look at all the books they've been getting their kid as they prepare. Amazing. Yeah, they are.
Okay.
They're taking this wokeness to the whole next level.
Wow. Okay. So I want to talk about what I finally saw today.
Okay.
And I likened you to one of the characters in the show. Okay. I finally watched Django Unchained today.
Ha! Alrighty.
And it,
crazy movie, man.
It, in my opinion, is one of Tarantino's best. And here's why.
Well, you're black.
Because I like.
I mean, right.
Hey, call it like you see it, brother. I'm just saying. You're right. It was so good to see black people win in the end. It was so good. But
please do me a favor. Please do me a favor and go as Django and wear that blue ass suit for Thanksgiving. for Thanksgiving, for Halloween this year. Actually, wear Thanksgiving. That'd be freaking awesome if you just showed up.
You know what?
And you got like colonial heels and high white hose on.
I could wear for Halloween, and then I could recycle it for Thanksgiving and go as Dolomite. But anyway, all right. Here's what I was getting at.
I just thought you were Dolomite. I've never seen you two in the same room together.
My man. You know what?
I've never seen Miley and Hannah in the same room either. I'm just saying.
You about made me drop the N-word, brother. I'm sorry. I won't do that. But that's that, man. You my guy. Okay, so here's the deal.
I qualify.
No. Anyway, as I was watching this movie, the one thing, you're late. Oh man, it's blowing up. The one thing that just kept running through my mind was Samuel L. Jackson's character, Stephen. And as I was thinking about the show tonight, and I was thinking about, I wanted to mention, Blacks for Trump. Please do not take what I'm about to say as me calling Blacks for Trump Uncle Toms. I would never do that. That's not cool. That is not what I'm saying.
This is the segment of the episode where the white guy leaves the screen.
I'm taking the podium away from you and I'm putting it in front of me. Okay, there you go.
And I've been told too many times that if I had a celebrity lookalike, and trust me, I know I don't, but more than one person has been like, "Oh, you look like Leo DiCaprio," and I was like, you know what? After that movie, I don't know. I love all the memes like before and after where he's like got the cigarette and the drink and he's laughing at people, and I'm like, that's funny, except I know what the fuck is going on in that scene.
Now I know. But here's what I want to say about this is that the journey to get to that place has to be a journey that is littered with so much pain, disappointment, brokenness. I'm imagining in my own mind succumbing to that much pressure until it becomes just simply survival mode. Yes. And that's where I choose to land with Blacks for Trump. I feel like they are in survival mode. Like all of this stuff has happened, and if you really look at Blacks for Trump, they are, and I think, I don't even know. So if I'm wrong, guys, please fact check me. But they're more my age, our age and up. They're like those, mid 40s, something like that. What did Io say? People out there saying you look like Calvin. Yes. Can I start speaking French to you, man? Anyway.
I speak French. Thank you very much.
Hey. Oui. Anyway. Bonsoir, mon ami. I can't imagine what has gone on in these folks' lives. And I think I'm not trying to cut them slack. I'm not trying to make excuses for them. I think that history will prove that they're on the wrong side of history. But my main question is that are we considering the shit that had to go on in their lives before we are passing judgment? And I'm just looking at a specific, part of this culture. You know what I mean?
Well,
I think there are on both sides. I think on this side, I think there are people who are very complicit, people who make that decision, people who are like, yes. But then again, I think there are people who are just in survival type mode. I don't know if that makes sense or not, man. But
it does make sense. And I read or watched something recently that kind of, just a second.
Yes, Gia, by the way, yes, that's exactly where I'm going with this.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
What's the matter?
My headphones fell apart.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, wow.
Wait, just a second. Give me a second.
Do you want me to come shake your hand? Is that it? You just want me to come shake your hand? That's what it is, man.
Okay, so no, I'm. It's one of those things that I consume so much media that I can't remember exactly what this was, but it was talking about how.
Oh, that's awesome. Go ahead.
Black people were voting for Trump or Republicans in general because like they'd figured out how to navigate modern racism, and that wasn't in their world the worst thing that could happen to them.
Yeah.
To be racially profiled every once in a while, or have someone be rude to them, they'd figured out how to deal with that. But I'm trying to build wealth. I'm trying to build, I'm trying to have my, look after my family.
Yeah.
And if you believe in traditional conservative ideals, I guess I can understand some of that. I have my perspective that it would be voting against your own best interests. That doesn't make me right in that
Right.
that's not an absolute.
Yes.
That's getting into the minutia of particular political ideologies. And of course, a lot of us are in agreement. That doesn't change the fact that, people are allowed to look at it differently and say that, look, if I can figure out how to navigate this, then I am going to be more concerned about how much I get taxed or this or that. I don't agree with that, but that doesn't make in this situation doesn't validate me or invalidate them. So I absolutely get what you're saying. In the specific context, here's a person who said, look, I can either choose to be beaten to death or die in the sun, or in some ways it's viewed as a betrayal. I mean, look, house in versus field in
Yeah, exactly.
is a thing. And
yes, sir.
And look, there were a lot of Jews that opted to be, Judenrat. Judenrat was the word.
Overseers. That's a great word, Gia. That's a great word.
But you hit it on the head, and I had that. I used the exact same phrase the other day, but you hit it on the head. Self-preservation. It's self-preservation, and everybody can say what they think they would do until they're there. And
Roger,
you know what, Roger?
Absolutely right.
You hit the nail on the head, because people are trying to navigate it. And I was having this thought earlier. What I was working out in my head, man, when you drive a long distance, you can really start to keep shoveling down deep on different thoughts. Because I was like, well, what are radical leftist groups? I can immediately name what I think are radical right-wing groups. And as an aside, I wanted to touch on this tonight. Like, why is it that every time a lot of people say, oh, my First Amendment rights are being infringed upon, and I need a safe space, snowflake motherfuckers, safe space. And then the second you get that space, you immediately begin talking about, I hate Jews, I hate blacks, I hate queers, and I want violent revolution. Well, because we've done this. How many times do we have to do this? I remember World War II, not because I was there, but I remember. I remember World War II. Like,
are you like Scott Bakula and Quantum Leap?
This one guy and his followers were like, fucking Jews, fucking blacks, fucking queers, fucking all these people who aren't white Anglo. And the irony is, Adolf Hitler is not fucking white Anglo-Saxon, like fucking Aryan, but whatever. What the fuck ever.
But here's what you're saying.
Security. Yeah, go ahead.
No, here's what you just said. Is it boiled down? All that what boiled down to just one statement is this: is that the fact is that the majority. No, I won't even say majority. The vast minority. Now, minority can be 1% to 49%, but the vast minority of white people in this country believe that the First Amendment is theirs.
Yeah.
It's this possessive nature, Aaron, that you're tapping into, that you're talking about. And it's not just about physicality. It's not just about full on drunk history. Yes, he did.
Damn Skippy.
It's about this concept. It's about the American dream. The American dream is mine. That's what
Manifest Destiny is mine.
Manifest Destiny is mine. That's what
Manifest Destiny came at the expense of every indigenous person in this country. We're here to collect what God said is ours. Wait a second. when you showed up, not only was there somebody here, they showed you how to deal with this. The fucking pilgrims showed up, and the Native Americans were like, y'all don't know about corn?
It's like, what the?
Trust me, in 200 years, you're going to run cars off this shit.
Exactly. I'm like, but this is getting to, and this is why I love us. So why I love us, man. I'm gonna
I love self-love.
You're my man crush. You know that, like, every day.
We have a bromance.
We do have a bromance. But anyway, this is exactly
we're the Bronus brothers.
That's going to get used against us. Oh man.
I'm always big. I just want you to know I'm always Big Spoon.
And I'm okay with that. I am. I'm a cuddler. Anyway,
this is me enveloping you. All right.
Break it.
I have one thing I want to pivot to.
Okay, please do.
And it is this. We all witnessed what we witnessed last week. There is no justification whatsoever for an armed mob to attack the Capitol, never mind attack the Capitol in the middle of certifying a duly elected president and vice president. You're a historian.
Mm-hmm. I play one on TV.
We have two examples historically of which direction we can go. And I'm not saying follow the playbook, but I am saying if you're going to lean one way or the other. Reconstruction was a massive failure in America. It
sucks.
It said, yeah, you fucked up, but you're Americans. Go back to your jobs, go back to your homes, go back to your farms, and we're going to move on. There wasn't punishment. They didn't say, look, we're not going to put you in jail, but you fought against the Republic. You can't hold office anymore. You can't lead
for like 12 years.
Versus, behind door number 2 is Nuremberg. Okay.
Oh,
we tracked people down.
Hang on. Wait.
We tracked people down.
Okay, I'm ready now.
And said,
oh my God,
you're going to be held accountable for your sins.
Woof, man, I need another shot for that one.
I'm going to go ahead and answer on your behalf and say that Reconstruction is not the way to go. Despite the number of people who got on the floor was like, I don't support impeachment because I think this is divisive to America, as if, encouraging insurrectionists to take the Capitol somehow isn't divisive. But I don't know that we need to hold these public trials and humiliate people. From your perspective, and you've got such a well-rounded perspective of by being a black man in America whose father hangs on the wall great grandfather hangs on the wall behind you and served in this great schism of a war. And then flash forward 80 years to World War II, which was a worldwide conflict, but basically the same thing. Your skin, your religion disqualifies you. You're less than. You don't get to participate. Where do you think we should go? Never mind impeachment. What should happen to, Bullhorn Shaman, Pelt Chewbacca, but also Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz, these people who said, hey man, go fight for this. Where do we go, Evan? What's the next step?
This is exactly what happened immediately after the Civil War. is that you all of a sudden had a change in leadership. You had Black men voted into office in a more in multiple positions in multiple ways than you had ever had before. So imagine in the South, in one state alone, in South Carolina, I believe they had 12 representatives in the state house of South Carolina, Aaron. And I think that what we see now is we are standing on that same type of precipice in the fact that, okay, you know what? Democrats have control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. They've got all three. They've got all three. The problem is that Andrew Johnson was so pro-slavery that he never went after those folks who were seditionists. He never went after them. He did not make an example of them and say, you know what, look, here's the deal. We are the United States of America. And in order to be united, we have to unite under that piece of paper that we keep under lock and key. That piece of paper that says all men are created equal. And if you see these 12 representatives from South Carolina, they're the same as every other representative here. Now, we've come a long way to where I don't think we have to stand up in the House or in the Senate and say something like that. But the fact is that as we look at what happened, and now as we look at the plate that's being handed to Democrats today, I mean, Aaron, Democrats are going to be responsible for taking care of COVID. They're going to be responsible for addressing racial injustice. They're going to be responsible for reestablishing who we are overseas as far as diplomacy. They're going to be responsible for all of these things that the past 4 years have been neglected. Mm-hmm. And so I think that if we look back in history and we look and we see these Black politicians doing things that are making things better for Black people in America, but we see this unaddressed angst and anxiety from Southern and Northern whites. We see it rear its ugly head. We see Jim Crow laws passed. We see, gerrymandering happening. We see Black codes being passed. Like, you can't vote if you can't read this. And they give them and they give freshly released slaves a page of Shakespeare. How are you, as a freshly released slave who were not able to read, going to read Shakespeare in order to vote? You can't. Mm-hmm. And so the point is that as we look at that society, and now we look at ours, what are the Black codes that are in our society? What are the POC codes, the persons of color? What are the women codes in our society that prevents people from truly being able to make change? Reconstruction lasted until the 1880s, 1890s. Okay, so it had about 20, 25 years of a good run there until white supremacists were able to back build enough and put enough on the books to once again suppress those people who actually wanted to change the nation in order to get it to say that, yes, all men are created equal. That's where we're at right now. If we do not hold these people accountable, if we don't hold them accountable, which I got to give props and kudos right now to our FBI, because they've got over 200-300 people now. Mm-hmm. I give props to them, because the fact is that, you know what, do your job and get every single one of them you can. Mm-hmm. And they're doing that. But I think we need to continue to put pressure. We need to continue to make sure that these people that we put into office are people that keep their eye on the prize. Mm-hmm. Because if we just go about doing business as usual, we will continue to get the same results, and there will be another deadlier. There'll be another, more calloused Donald Trump down the road if we don't do
There'll
that.
be a better Donald Trump, because let's face it, he's an incompetent.
Yes. Absolutely. Sorry, I went off on a.
So much to address here, and I want to get to a couple comments. Gia said, "So, Aaron, do you think the arrest being made is putting us in a different light than the Reconstruction?" And you have more, but I want to take this one by one. I don't know enough about the immediate post-war period and Reconstruction to know if people got arrested and then got let go. But I'll say that it's a step in the right direction that we've so quickly identified, and thank you, Facebook, and thank you, selfies, to identify these people and arrest them. It'll depend on how they're prosecuted and what comes of that. I think the bigger issue with where we're going with this is, will the 14th Amendment be used against all of these people, the West Virginia senator and all these different folks that, and Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz and maybe even, Donald Trump. You actively encouraged sedition and treason against the Republic. So holding their feet to the fire will be important.
So
is
real
history
quick, for those
itself?
people who don't know, the 14th Amendment is the opening sentence of Section 1 of the 14th Amendment. It said is defined U.S. citizenship. All persons born or naturalized.
Yeah, you want Section either 2 or 3
and subject. Well, but that's an important part too, because I think it kind of plays into this, is because Black people have always been. We have been striving to figure out, what does it take to be a citizen of this country? Mm-hmm. What does it take? So,
that's fair.
Yes, I know you're going to Section 3. I know you're going to Section 3.
Except in this context, we're talking about fucking white people doing this. There shouldn't be question marks over that. These are people who are going to swear on their life that every person in their ancestry since Jesus was born in the United States, because they don't understand history.
Right.
Right.
But Section 3,
Section 3 is the one. Yeah.
I wanted to say that because it's so very important. But Section 3 says that it gives Congress the authority to bar public officials who took an oath of allegiance to the U.S. Constitution from holding office if they, quote, engaged in insurrection or rebellion, unquote, against the Constitution. Okay? Mm-hmm. So it's interesting.
No. God damn it.